The brand new Nikon Z6 and Nikon Z7. What are my thoughts about those cameras? Yesterday Nikon announced their brand new cameras. I don't have it yet because I shoot with Sony, but I will take a closer look at it at the Photokina, and maybe then I will make a video about one or about both cameras. But I will give you my thoughts now if that would be, or those would be, a camera for me, and if that would be maybe a camera for you. So let's start. We have two brand new mirrorless full-frame cameras by Nikon, and a lot of people, especially old Nikon shooters, waited for them desperately because they have old glass and want to use the old glass on the new camera. But what a lot of people thought about in the past was that when there's a new mirrorless camera, which is smaller, they maybe get a new mount, and the teaser videos of Nikon made it clear, yes, there will be a new mount, and finally, yes, it is a new mount. But you get an adapter, or you can buy an adapter with your new camera, and with that new adapter you can use your old lenses on the new cameras. How they work, if they work, I have no idea, but I think when they bring it out, it works. So let's start with the facts. We have the Z7, which is a megapixel monster. It has 45.7 megapixel. It's comparable to the A7R2 or A7R3 by Sony, so it has even 3 megapixel more. If that's important, I have no idea. It has 9 images per second, continuous shooting, 4K video with 30 frames per second. It has 120 frames in full HD. It has a 5-axis sensor image stabilizer. It has a lot of focus points, and it has a flip screen and some other stuff. So it's kind of the A7R2 or A7R3, but made by Nikon. Then we have on the other side the Z6. And that's the 24.5 megapixel camera, so it's comparable to the A7 II or A7 III by Sony. It has also the 5-axis sensor stabilizer, it has 4K video, it has 51,000 ISO and a lot of other stuff. Let's come to the price tag. The Z7 with the adapter, and I think most of the Nikon shooters will buy it with an adapter because there are only like 3 lenses out, and still yet none of the cameras is out. With the adapter it costs 3,850 euro in Germany, and the Z6 costs 2,450 euro with the adapter in Germany. Compared with the A7 III or with the A7R3, it's a kind of the same price range, a kind more pricey because it's with an adapter, but still it's, I think, a fair price for both cameras. Let's talk about what I like and what I don't like about those new cameras. What I like is that they have a screen on top, which I think is amazing. It's always good to have 2 screens, and you know it from the old DSLR cameras that have like all the settings here on the top. Those 2 cameras have it as well. Which is very cool, I think, is you can use your old batteries. It's the EL15 size with the new camera. So if you have like 5 old batteries already, you can use them in the new cameras. It has N-Log, which is a flat picture profile, and definitely necessary in modern cameras that you have a lock profile, that you can film more cinematic, have more dynamic range, a flat image profile. And it has weather sealing, which is also cool. It's kind of the O-ring thing, which is more sealed to wetness and to dust and stuff. I never had issues with the Sonys. They are not dust sealed or anything, but it's good to have. What I don't like, and what many people mentioned when they got the announcement, especially wedding photographers, was the only 1 memory card slot. It's always great to have 2 memory slots, and when Nikon brings out 2 brand new flagships, and they are not even out yet, the first one, the Z7, comes out in the end of September, and the other only in November, so for Christmas business, so it's the end of 2018, and when the next cameras will come, nobody knows, maybe in 2 2 years or whenever. Nikon always is a bit slower with that stuff. So yeah, you have to wait if you want 2 memory cards. And as well, it has the XQD format, so it's not SD. It's another kind of memory card. It's more expensive, much more expensive, but it's much faster on the other hand. So that's great. It's an innovation, and it's okay to be in the camera, but a second memory card, especially SD or something, would be great if it would be, but it's not, so whatever. My thoughts about those 2 cameras. I think that it's great that Nikon did finally the step and the move before Canon, because Canon still not has a mirrorless full frame camera. And I think, in German we say, the train is gone for Canon. Because a lot of Canon shooters switched to Sony, because they can use their Canon glass with an adapter on Sony cameras, and Sony then improved over the years. We have to now think about, Sony has now the 3rd generation of mirrorless full-frame cameras on the market, whilst Nikon has the 1st generation. So Sony learned a lot in the last years. Of course, other brands could see all that stuff. It was not a secret or something, but Canon still lacks that. And I don't think that Canon gets their shooter back if they don't bring a super huge innovation or something. And that's, I think, not really possible. But I always look forward for that, and I like kind of competition on the camera market. But Nikon now brings definitely some competition in, but is it really a real competition for Sony? I don't think so, because they are still 2 steps or even 3 steps behind Sony. Because now when the cameras come out, the new cameras of Sony will come out, and so on and so on. So Nikon is always 1 step behind. But it's great for Nikon shooters because they can use their old glass. Or even you can buy used Nikon glass from people that bought themselves a Sony, or even another system like Olympus or Fuji. They have great mirrorless cameras as well, and go back to maybe Nikon and something. So yeah, it's interesting to see how everything evolves, and it's definitely the right move for Nikon, but a lot has to come if they really want to compete. They have to have like consumer or more consumer. I think the normal full frame is a consumer pro camera, the 24 megapixel Z6 camera. But they have to bring an APS-C, something like the a6500, but then comes the a6700 by Sony, a6900, whatever will come in the future, and it will always be 1 step behind. But still, I think it's a good move, and I definitely would say if you shooted Nikon before, if you have Nikon glass and of course Nikon batteries, you can buy yourself the new camera. You can't do much wrong with that. Use the adapter, get used to it, get used to the mirrorless system if you haven't already. I made a video in 2016 in German, in 2017 in English, why I would not buy a DSLR anymore. Now we have the end of 2018, and finally the second big brand hopped on the train of mirrorless cameras, and we will see what will happen next. If you're interested in the video, I put it in the description below. What are your thoughts on the 2 new cameras? Will you get yourself one of those babies, or do you say, no, I don't want to be mirrorless, I stay DSLR till I will be on Mars or something like this? Write it in the comments below, and I see you in the next video. If you want to learn more about photography, quick commercial, check out learnfromben.com. This is my website. There we get video courses about landscape photography. You can do with Nikon, Sony, Canon, whatever camera you're using, and many image editing stuff as well. Learnfromben.com. So see you next time. Hit thumbs up if you liked the video, if you're informed right now, and yeah, I will now edit this video because it will be online in 2 hours.